never really made long videos because I'm kind of bad at talking for extended period of times concisely, and I never really know what to talk about. It's kind of hard to decide on a topic sometimes. And then I remember I don't think I've ever really talked much about my OCs on here because I'm always scared of spoiling stories and stuff, even though half the stories aren't even going to be truly made into an actual story, and I can send my friends 20-minute long voice messages of me just talking about my characters for some reason. So I think that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite characters that I've ever made, and maybe I'm going to talk about some really old ones. I don't know. We'll figure it out once I start yapping about them. But today, I'm going to go with the classic Roxy and Cassidy. I had this idea for a story, basically enemies to lovers, where Roxy, well, they're not really enemies, but they just kind of don't get along the best. Roxy, my air conditioner just stopped and it scared me. Roxy is kind of mean to Cassidy, not really, just playful bullying and stuff. And Cassidy gets annoyed very easily, right? And they don't like each other. And Roxy has this twin brother named Monday, and Cassidy's best friend is Sky. And Cassidy learns that Sky has a crush on Monday, and Roxy learns that Monday has a crush on Sky. And then they find out that both the other like each other and that the other no. So Roxy's like, we should team up and get them together. And so shenanigans ensue, and Cassidy's like, I do not want to team up with you, but then they end up falling in love, obviously, enemies to lovers, and I think it's really cute. But I never really had an ending in sight, and I never really had any interesting plot points. There were a few scenes in my head that I had thought of that were going to be amazing, there was this one, I'll have to explain it a bit, but I'm going to explain the characters a little more deeply than just the surface plot. Basically, okay, we're going to start with Roxy. Roxy is annoying, energetic, like orange cat, and she just is crazy. She's silly all of the time. She has lots of friends that she talks to. She's not popular, but she just talks to a lot of people. She's very, very social, and she really likes hanging around Cassidy for some reason. She thinks it's just funny to annoy her, and the main thing she does is she calls Cassidy a poser because Roxy is scene and Cassidy is emo. And back in middle school, Cassidy called Roxy a poser, just genuinely out of rude and evilness, but Roxy does it playfully to annoy Cassidy now, just as a reminder that she did that. And I think that's pretty funny. I had this scene in my head where they're arguing and she says something like, you're not cool, and then Roxy's like, I'm cooler than you are. So they were arguing about being cool, and then some random girl's like, neither of you are cool, and then they both start yelling at her. And I thought that was gonna be like the most funniest scene ever. And it would have been. I might have to draw that as just like a little fun mini comic. This is like a slice of life thing. I'll never have to worry about an actual story. Thankfully. I probably won't have to write a full story for that. Because, like, who's gonna do that? Not gonna lie. No offense. I don't want to do that. So, but Cassidy is easily annoyed. She's pretty chill. She only's friends with a few people, and one of them is Sky, obviously. She doesn't really talk to much other people. And Sky's been her best friend for years, and she's like, I can't believe you're friends with that thing's brother, but like, okay. Like, I can't believe you have a crush on that guy. Like, that is that creature's brother, but whatever. And Sky's just in love with Monday. It's very funny. She's like, I'll support you, but like, I won't support you, you know, like, I'll support you, but like, be for real. And then Sky is pretty chill as well. She's a lot more energetic than Cassidy is, but a lot less energetic than Roxy is. And they just kind of, they talk, they yap a little bit sometimes. They, just do whatever. She's a little bit of a rebel. She does whatever she wants generally. And they do get into trouble sometimes, but, like, you know, they skip class occasionally. But Sky is just pretty cool overall. And Monday is a lot like Sky, but a lot less troublesome. A lot more of a good kid, worried about breaking rules. And he's trans. Also, that's a fun detail I forgot to mention. Because him and Roxy are identical twins. I thought that would be cool. And he's not really like Roxy necessarily. Like, they might look alike, but they're really not that similar, but they get along really well. And they're pretty close. Anyways, now that we have a good handle on the characters, I can talk about some of the story elements. Basically, Roxy thinks she's straight, but in all reality, she's just a lesbian, okay? She thinks that she only likes boys, but she's wrong, and she's dumb, and Cassidy is openly bi, but for some reason, Roxy does not know that. Roxy is very dumb, basically. And then she realizes, she's like, oh wait, I think I have a crush on Cassidy. What? And so she's like, oh, but Cassidy would never love me, first off, because she doesn't like me, because I'm mean to her, even though I meant it as a joke, and, like, I was just being playful, but, like, she still doesn't like me, and also, she doesn't like girls, and, little does she know that Cassidy actually does like girls, but that's fine. And at some point, Roxy starts teasing Monday about having a crush, because Monday really enjoys romance and stuff. And he's like, oh my gosh, who could you like? Like, who is this guy? And Roxy's like, I'll never tell you. And Monday's like, please tell me, bro. I need to know this. And Roxy's just refusing to tell. But she realizes she has a crush on Cassidy. And then one day, she's over at Cassidy's house, plotting to get Sky and Monday together, obviously. And then, they're sort of getting along a little better, but not really. And she sees the bi flag on Cassidy's wall, and is like, oh my gosh, wait, I might have a chance. And she starts freaking out. But then she's like, 1 second, I'll be right back. And she goes into the bathroom to text Monday about it and be like, I'm at my crush's house. She's like, I want to tell him that I found out that I like girls, but, like, I'm too scared. She's telling her best friend Monty about it, probably. I haven't talked about Monty much, but they're just non-binary, arrow ace, chill person. And, you know, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. They really just go along with whatever Roxy says. Like, you're so annoying, but okay, yeah, let's go. Basically, Roxy, but seen and a lot more chill. Like they don't think that Roxy is annoying or whatever. But anyways, and basically, Roxy finds out, like, is thinking, like, oh my god, wait. So they're in high school. They're about to graduate. They're like, what if you ask Sky to prom Monday? And Monday's like, no, I can't do that. And so then Roxy goes up to Cassidy and is like, oh my gosh. She, like, leaves the bathroom and goes to Cassidy's room and is like, I thought of an amazing idea, and holds her phone in front of her for a second, and then realizes it says, I'm at my crush's house right now, and immediately snatches it back. And she says, anyways, I was thinking we make them go to prom, and then we go to prom together to spy on them. And then Cassidy had seen the text, but had only seen the word crush, because it was Monday saying, who's your crush? And then Cassidy's like, well, why don't you go with your crush? And then Roxy's like, oh, I think we should go so we can spy on them. And she's like, whatever, you should just go with your crush or something. And then Roxy's like, oh, actually, Monday just messaged me and said I need to go home, so yeah, I'll see you. That didn't happen. So then Roxy goes to the park next to Cassidy's house, and is just crying on the equipment, and Cassidy's like, why do I feel so bothered about seeing that Roxy has a crush? I don't know why, so I'm gonna go for a walk. Okay, she goes for a walk, and she sees Roxy on the playground equipment. She's like, oh great, here we go. And she walks closer and can hear her crying, and she's like, oh no, what happened? So she goes up there and she's comforting her, and then Roxy basically confesses, I thought I liked boys, but I actually like girls, and I don't know what to do. And my crush will never like me back because I ruined every chance I had of possibly like them liking me back ever, because I did some things that were not cool and ruined every chance I could have ever had. And Cassidy doesn't know that she's talking about her, but Cassidy's like, you know what? You might be dumb, but like I don't think this is like irredeemable. I think you could probably make it up to them eventually, like if you try hard enough. Like I'm sure it'll be fine. And basically comforts her, and then they make a few jokes and laugh, and they're basically friends now. They're pretty chill with each other. She's like, I don't think I've ever liked boys. She's like, yeah, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. And Cassidy's not one to get crushes often. She gets a crush, like a really big crush, occasionally. Like, it's never like small crushes here and there. It's always a really big one occasionally. And she is too stubborn to even notice her crushes sometimes. So it's a long time before she realizes she likes Roxy. But I had another scene in mind for when they finally get Sky and Monday together. They're on a date and they're spying from Cassidy's house because they're at the park near their house and they can see them walking down the street and the sun is setting, and Roxy and Cassidy are sitting there in the window staring at them, and then they kiss, and then without thinking, Cassidy grabs Roxy and kisses her, and they all kind of freak out a little bit. And then that's when Roxy confesses, wait, I actually like you, and then it's just a happy moment. And I didn't know it was going to happen after that, but that's the only reason I haven't written this. I also wouldn't know any shenanigans that go on to try and get these two together. But, you know, I thought it was a beautiful story, and I still stand by these characters. I love them so much. They're so dumb and so silly. And Cassie's always like, bro, what is she doing? And she's always off doing the most random thing ever. Who knows what she's doing? Who knows what she's thinking? But that's about it. I don't think I have any other scenes that I really thought about that often. Anyways, those are some of my favorite OCs. Let me know if you want to hear more about them or any other OCs I have. I have tons of OCs, like in abundance. And if you want to see mini comics of them ever, let me know. I can make some. It would be fun. I mean, there are some moments that would be really fun to turn into like a mini comic and not really have a full story. Just like random panels, whatever. I've drawn them together several times. Here's a few examples of different things I've drawn. I drew them as mermaids. I drew them for a few collabs, I think. I've made a few animations of them, like an animation meme. No sound because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know if I will get in trouble for this, but I don't want to risk it. But if you want to see the full like version with sound, it's on in my Instagram and on YouTube and on TikTok. If you want to find it somewhere on there. But yeah, if you like me yapping, let me know and I'll post more videos, obviously. But if you like my art, subscribe and also follow me on Instagram. I don't post on TikTok anymore, so you can't really follow me there. Well, you can, but I don't post anything. Join the Discord server. Link in somewhere. The description, probably. And yeah. Don't let the cheeseburgers bite. Thanks for watching.